metagenome is amplicon specific, that we actually call as a amplicon sequencing. It is for particular gene. So if we are interested to study population of bacterial cell, then we are specifically doing that particular gene we are amplifying and that we are sequencing. So we are actually studying a distribution of that gene in the environment. Whereas the whole metagenome, that is actually the word metagenome means you are sequencing the entire genome which is present in the environment, and which actually carry lot of information of each genome, I will say. And I will say the metagenome, along with the difficult to culture organism, the candidatus member, is a very upcoming field of science where most of the people should join, and they should try to cultivate the new organism and characterize them and understand their physiology. That is what I feel, that the culturing of unknown bacteria or uncultivated bacteria is a future, and which should be guided by the metagenome. That is what I really feel about the metagenome.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So with this, I once again thank you, and with the permission of organizers, I declare that this session is over. Thank you, Tushar sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Pankaj sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, sir.
Thank you.
Now we are going to move our next session by Professor Dr. V.Y. Deshpande, sir, Vice Principal of the Institute and the Head of the Department of Zoology and Fisheries. Uh, Now I would like to request Dr. Jadhav, sir, to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, sir. For this session, our resource person is the Professor Dr. V.Y. Deshpande, sir. He is a vice principal of our institute, and he is working as a professor in Department of Zoology and Fisheries. His teaching experience is 34 years and research experience is 26 years. He has completed his MSc and PhD from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He is a recognized PhD guide, and under his guidance, 2 students completed the PhD, and 1 student is now working. He published more than 14 research papers in national and international journal, and he is also the member of different academic bodies like the chairman of Board of Studies in Zoology Shivaji University, Kolhapur, and YCS Satara. He is also the life member of Bombay National History Society, life member of Association of Zoologists India. So with this short introduction, I request to the resource person of this session, Professor Dr. V.Y. Deshpande, sir, to start his lecture. सर अनम्यूट करा देशपांडे सर.
आता डबल येतोय.
येतोय क्लिअर येतोय सर आता नीट.
ओके ओके.
हो दिसती, स्क्रीन शेअर केलेली दिसती.
ओके, थँक्यू. I was a victim of virus even today. Actually, I at the time slot in the morning, I prepared my presentation, spending 2.5 hours, and everything was washed out because of the virus which entered the PC. So this is the second time in a few months that I am affected by a virus. First time by coronavirus, and today by some uh, virus present in my PC. So unfortunately, I am not able to present my original presentation. I prepared this in a very short time, but it's okay. The topic given to me was recent trends in zoology and fisheries. I think this was a topic given to all the subjects. So after the plenary talk, all the heads of the department, all the in charge were supposed to talk on this subject. That was my understanding. I had a discussion with so many other heads. So, considering the previous lecture, my lecture will be very primitive, but this is the basic and this is the topic allotted to me. Now, as far as the recent trends in zoology and fisheries is concerned, the topic given is somewhat tricky. With respect to, I had a say discussion with Dr. Kanche Madam that recent trends in zoology and fisheries with respect to Vice Institute of Science, Satara. So if I consider that the topic this way, it is correct. Or recent trends as far as the city is concerned, state is concerned, country is concerned, and so on. So what I've done is I'll be speaking on both these things. What is the recent status, current status, the history of zoology, what needs to be done, and as far as our institute is concerned. So it will be a sort of mixture. Then again, zoology and fisheries. So I'll be talking mostly on zoology, but fisheries being a subsidiary subject, a branch of zoology. I'll be talking, I have 2 or 3 slides related to fisheries. So trying to cover the zoology and fisheries which required 30,000 years to evolve in 30 minutes. That's really challenging. So zoology has developed for the past 30,000 years, and I have to present it in 30 minutes. So we'll start. So this is what I want to say, the evolution and history of zoology. I'll spend very less time, but it is classified into pre-scientific zoology. The first zoology that I am talking of, I was saying 30,000 years because this is nothing related to scientific knowledge. The languages were not developed. The establishment of cities and civilization was in the early process. And the zoology at that time, it is depicted in two parts, classified into two parts, ancient Eastern and ancient Greek. And even now we are in the midst of one of the process which was developed so far ago, so long ago. And this is what is seen in mythological text of all religions. There's a spelling mistake. All religions, the related to all religions, there is a reference in the Noah's Ark. Then we are having festival. That is why I said we are in the middle of a festival. Uh, Now the fasting season is there. Then we'll be celebrating Ganesh festival. Then the goddesses will be worshipped, and so on and so forth. So this was say developed in the ancient Eastern culture and ancient Greek culture. And if you simply go through all these festivals, if you go through all the literature, it is closely associated with importance of animals, importance of animals, then domestication of animals, culture of fishes, conservation of animals. So these are the topics which are depicted even in all the mythological stories. And uh, even the individuals of people living in the very old ages knew the importance of animals, and this is how zoology developed. And need not go into the details because everyone is familiar with mythological stories. We have grown up, especially in India, we grow up with stories told by grandmas and moms and friends and so on and so forth. So where we Here there are different vehicles of God. They are all animals. They are all animals. Then there are again plants. So zoology being dependent on botany, there are plants related to festivals. There are, say, I'll say, food commodity which is related to the festivals, and all have evolved around animals. Animals coexistence. So Lord Ganesha will be wearing a belt of snake. Similarly, Lord Shiva will be wearing a necklace of snakes. So it depicts that snakes are, even though they are venomous, they are important. They are important for human beings, and conservation was one of the major point to be considered. Then came the about Aristotle. So he is considered as father of zoology, and he, for the first time, made a list of animals, studied animal behavior. So this zoology, the first zoology that I was talking about, was related to conservation. We don't know nothing about that because it was prehistoric. The languages were not there, but we get references from religious material. Now this Aristotelian zoology was developed by Aristotle, I'll say, and this is an era dedicated to him and his work. So what he did was he listed the animals and then noted down the animal behavior, and somewhat systematic zoology started in this era. Even though now we know, so if we read the standard 11th textbook, you must be knowing that Aristotle stated that if leaves fall in water, they are converted into fishes. If they fall in mud, they are converted into amphibians. And if they fall on earth, dry earth, they are converted into birds. Maybe this was what he suggested. So reproduction, everything related to zoology was in its primary stage. So this was an era, and again something related to fisheries. Again, it is a very old concept, right from the first days of civilization, where hooks and spears and the nets are depicted in the pictures, paintings on wall, and so on and so forth. So actual systematic study started in this era. Then we come to the Renaissance and early modern era, where there was a tremendous boost in zoology and development in zoology, not only zoology or the biology, because of development and discovery of microscope. So in this era, they started systematic work on, say, individuals started working on the organs. Then they cut it, cut them down into tissues, and then they reached the cellular level. Simultaneously, the classification of animals, classification of plants began, and a systematic taxonomy was started. And by this time, printing presses were developed, paper was invented, and there was a lot of documentation carried out by different individuals regarding zoology, biology as a whole, and there were a lot of publications of books and articles. And the individuals who were slowly and steadily developing their farms, and the civilizations were working into, say, barter system. So some of them started culture of animals, then the breeding experiments began, and then at the end of this era, they started development of branches of zoology. So and then the individuals thought, okay, now we have to develop the agriculture branch should be separated, horticulture separated. Similarly, zoology was divided into, say, farming, the cattle farming, then some started birds, then some started fish culture, and then they started taxonomy, they started studying the morphology, then came the anatomy, and so on and so forth. So these branches were developed. So and now we come to the recent times, just before the current time, recent time, but not the current status. I'll be giving 3 or 4 slides for the current status and the future of zoology and fisheries. So, what happened after origin of species and thereafter. So I've written down at least 400 different zoologists have made significant contributions to the subject, but the major contribution was made by Darwin and his origin of species. He was a scientist. Actually, he traveled on a ship called as the Beagle, and he collected information. He was very good at documentation, and he documented the different types of finches, which are world famous now. Even today, we are teaching them in the classroom. Then he studied the different types of manures, the different types of animals, and he made very particular notes, kept a perfect data, collected the information during the voyage, and he put forward the theory of natural selection. And I've written down the second point over here that it is currently true even in recent context. True if in the recent context. Uh, After the natural selection, after the contribution of these great 400 zoologists, uh, today we have started playing with the genes. Today we have started introducing microbes. Today we have started genetic modification of plants, animals, microbes for the betterment of society and human beings, keeping in view only one aspect, the what you say, use of all these animals, change in all these animals for the betterment of human beings, for without taking into consideration the other animals. But what I'm saying is natural selection. If you are aware regarding the recent developments and changes in the environment, the disease that we are facing, the calamity in the midst of which we are holding this faculty development program, the corona pandemic. Then there are so many floods, and the nature as I say, environment and the nature has become irregular, and so on and so forth. And after a couple of years, what the scientists say is the animal which is likely to become extinct is none other than human being. And again, Darwin may win, and nature will select the fittest animal to survive on the earth. And we human beings are right now at the top of the web. I'd say we are trying to control even the nature. The nature has selected us. We have advanced, we have developed our brain power, we have developed so many other things. We are clever, we have developed gadgets and equipments and so on and so forth. But if we are neglecting the rules of nature, and it is nature which will finally select the right candidate to live on the earth, and we humans are facing a great problem, we need corrective measures to be done. So I'll come back to that later on. So then during this era, after the origin of species, right up to the present day, so many individuals. I'm writing zoology because my topic was zoology, but actually microbiologists, botanists, zoologists, individuals studying geography, geology, all have contributed to the development of different equipments and making available the data, publishing the material, and so on and so forth. Then what I've written down is that what is right now governing the development of all the subjects, I'll say, is development of equipment, availability of institutes with facilities which was not present in the prior era. Now they are present, scholarships and funds for carrying out research, and interdisciplinary subjects which help in solving problems which are faced by scientists of different subjects. So it's a holistic approach where each one helps the other, and come up with a solution for application for the betterment of society. That is the aim that is followed. As far as fisheries, I'll say only a few words because very limited individuals are interested in fisheries. But uh, fisheries in the olden times, I said that in the prehistoric, up to the time of Aristotle, fisheries was confined to capture fisheries. So the fishes which were present in ample amount in the different water bodies were hunted using spears and hooks. And I had shown you a picture of a hook just now. And they were hunted and consumed for food. And later on in the Middle years, especially the Chinese who migrated teaching their religion, then the religious saints who traveled across the world, they used to carry fish seed with them, and they introduced Chinese fishes in India and neighboring countries. Then came the culture of ponds and construction of ponds for culture of fishes. And currently, I'll get directly to the point that culture and capture fisheries are carried out utilizing all the habitats, marine, estuarine, freshwater, and the last sentence is important, that is overfishing and pollution of all the water bodies has caused damage to ecosystem, which I think and all the scientists think that which is not going to be repaired. So this is the where fisheries is present. Now this is the current status of zoology as far as our teaching is concerned, and the current day status is concerned. So what has happened? I have already written a point in the previous slide that high-end equipments are present, easily available to all the researchers, all the aspiring scientists, and that is why we are getting high impact research. The but what has happened because of this high impact research is zoology and the branches of zoology. So there are so many branches, about 112 branches are recognized, or more than that, have become specialized and super specialized. And they have lost their original contact with the mother zoology subject. And now they are integrated along with other subjects, and zoology is slowly becoming minor, while the other interdisciplinary branches are on the rise. So this is happening in our institute also, where biotechnology is in high demand. Maybe microbiology has reached a very high standard. So these are subjects which evolved from zoology, I'll say. And the microbes were a part of zoology, but now the microbiology has become a very, I'll say, developed subject, a modern subject. It is a requirement of the or the need of the hour. Biotechnology is one such subject, and there are so many other subjects yet to come and still developing now. And that is why I have written the correct current status is negative for zoology, especially in colleges, where it is nowadays considered as a classical subject, basic classical subject. Once upon a time, it was a modern subject which had high potential for application. It was considered to be an applied subject. It is still an applied subject. It has its own potential as applied subject. There are so many branches of zoology regarding the application of zoology for betterment of society, but especially in integrated farming, integrated agriculture, I'll say, in a better manner, where say, plants and the animals and the birds, they are kept together, cultured together, domesticated, breeding is carried out for medicinal, food, clothes, and other uses. So, in spite of all this, zoology is now treated as a classical subject because the branches of zoology have evolved into specializations and super specializations, and they have themselves become as large as the original subject. And a throwback to schools. Those who are, say, familiar with the Karmir Gaurav Patil Institute, sorry, University, which is on the verge of getting its recognition soon, and I'm sure one say it will be happening very soon. We are again going for schools, and maybe zoology and other subjects are going to be thrown into school of life sciences, school of fisheries. So this was a concept 120 years ago. It was a school. It developed into a full-fledged subject. It divided into so many branches. The branches developed into specialization, and the original subject is going back to the school. So this is a negative aspect of zoology, I'd say, and this is the future. So the actually my topic was the current status. So everybody is actually familiar with what is current status. I have explained it in the previous slide, and this is what is coming. This is what is yet to come. And the first point, digitalization, then IT, then intelligent, say, artificial intelligence, AR, everything is going to enter into zoology. And everyone has to cope up with all these points in order to maintain the identity. Maintain the identity, the subject is will have to adapt different methods to maintain the identity. And one major identity that the zoologists are now moving towards in the future. If you say, I've gone for especially for preparing this topic, I've gone through so many research articles, and everywhere, say, I put in you put into Google in the search, say, searching for jobs available for zoology, and most of the jobs, I'll say, are as conservation biologists, managers of forests, managers of fish farm. So this is what zoology, I think, will be moving in future. That everyone knows that we are spoiling the earth, we are destroying the ecosystem, we are going to face the problem, and it is now time to conserve this. uh, for very few handful of people, for the votes, I'll say the politicians especially, they are not bothered regarding conservation, and that is why scientists and zoologists are moving towards conservation biology, and we will have to move there in order to prevent pollution. So that's what I've written, the preventive measures against pollution. We have to stop polluting our waters, minimize polluting our waters is the first step. We have to treat the effluents, we have to treat our garbage, we have to treat the unwanted materials, and see that we reduce pollution. And here the zoology, again, I'd say the last slide, again, last point, interdisciplinary approach is a must, because for preventive measures against pollution, zoology alone cannot take part. We require, the zoologist will require botany, microbiology, maybe some physics, maybe chemistry, again, so interdisciplinary approach. But the botany and zoology individuals can lead this particular movement by creating awareness. So it is up to the biologist to create awareness, take the help of all the other subjects, and move towards the future. So this is what the future holds for zoology. For fisheries, everything is utilized regarding marine water. The fishes the amount of fish catch is depleting in estuaries, it is depleting in marine water because of pollution, because of overfishing, because the vehicles, the boats, the trawlers, the fishing equipment are sophisticated, modernized. Then there is use of sonic systems and ultrasonics for locating the fish, capturing them, cutting them, preserving them, processing them on the fishing vehicles, and this has led to depleting in the number of species and fisheries and other reservoir aquatic resources in marine water and estuarine water. And the future of fisheries lies in fresh water. Even though fresh water contributes to only 3% of the total water present on the surface of Earth, out of which 2.8% is confined to snow, ice, and only 0.3% is available. But this is not yet fully utilized. These water bodies, freshwater bodies, even though polluted, we have to use them, which include the ponds, the lakes, the farm ponds, Shetari, which are now constructed, and the number is up to 30,000 in our single district. Then there are streams and uh, canals which are operating, and there is presence of water in these canals. Then the water is present on plateaus, in seasonal ponds. So these are the water bodies which need to be utilized using cage culture, construction of temporary fish farms, raceway culture, which is not there in our country, where fishes can be cultured in canals where water is flowing or water is maintained at a low level. And finally, fisheries, as far as fisheries is concerned, there is development of new species going on after genetic modification, especially monosex culture is the recent trend where the sex of the fish is changed, and either only the males are cultured or the females, because if they are allowed to breed, they will not grow uh, to a larger size because of the development of reproductive system. And what the human beings do is they change the sex of these fishes. So if all the males are present, the sex hormones won't be secreted. There'll be almost zero sexual activity, and therefore the reproductive systems will develop slow and the fish will develop faster. Then there is change in color of the fish by modifying the genetic material, and they are made to look attractive, and so on and so forth. So this is the future of fisheries as far as teaching of in zoology and fisheries is concerned. So keeping in view this future of fisheries, the Department of Zoology of our institute has started MSc Fisheries from the year 21-22. So we are starting Department of Fisheries, MSc in Fisheries at MSc 1. Next year we are going to specialize in freshwater fish farm management. So this will be the specialization, and we are thinking of remaining one step ahead of others by moving into the future of fisheries by starting a course in our institution. And so, as far as teaching of zoology and fisheries is concerned, this is the last slide, I think. This is for all the faculty who are present in online same manner. This is required by the NEP, the individuals who drafted the National Education Policy, and this needs to be taken into consideration by all the heads of the department, not only the head of the Department of Zoology and Fisheries. These problems and remedies that I've written are related to almost all the subjects in our institute, And I think individuals of 7 different subjects are logged in to this lecture. So see if you can identify the problems and remedies of your syllabi. I think only 1 or 2 subjects may be exceptional over here. Number one is the syllabi. The syllabi of our subjects, I think, according to me, at least personally, even though I am a member of Board of Studies, Chairman of Board of Studies in University, Chairman of Board of Studies in Vice Chancellor of Science Sattara, I am not able to draft the syllabus which I want to. So this is a bold statement and a very correct statement. I think all the Board of Studies chairpersons will agree to it. We are supposed to carry out changes in the syllabi given by UGC. Then we have some constraint regarding rules and regulations laid down by the university, and we have to follow the syllabi and make only 20, maximum 30% changes. So at least under autonomy, we must be allowed to make 100% changes, but this is not happening. This is not the policy of our country. Again, the second point is the use of IT. As I was saying, we have to say change our teaching methods, which is expected by the NEP, because they expect from the students development of skill, development of teamwork, making them say self-sufficient. They should learn by themselves. They should carry out research. They should look after the society. They must become very good individuals, so on and so forth. Their national education policy, some if many of you have read, and we have already had some workshops related to this. And in order to make a student such a holistic student, we require to change our teaching methods. And the last sentence I forgot to say, this is again, we have a reminder received last month from UGC that all the institutions, all the universities, all the departments should include internship and hands-on improvement or skill-based practicals in their syllabi. So we'll have to change the syllabi. We'll have to change the teaching method, develop teaching methods. And as Kengar sir was saying in his initial address, we are supposed to be facilitators. The teachers are no longer required to teach. They should be guides and facilitators. They should show the path which the students are supposed to follow. So this is as far as the teaching of most of the subjects in the future. And the current method, all of us are familiar. We are teaching, we are providing them with notes. The Kengar sir has already spoken on this. So most of the things are given ready-made to the students, and it's a sort of rote learning that we are depending on. So we have to change all this, and I hope we make the necessary changes. So thank you. If we want to discuss, we can discuss this topic. As I was saying, zoology developed for 30,000 years, and I spoke only for 30 minutes, but this is what was there, is there, and will be coming according to scientists and according to me personally. Some points I've written down over there. Now we can have discussion. Maybe somebody from you can suggest the future or the changes. It will be very good. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a informative session. Right from the history, then the contribution of zoologist, current status, and the future up to the fisheries. So thank you so much, sir. Participants, if you have any questions or query, so you can ask. Okay, I think there is no any questions.
All the faculty members are developed.
Now I request Dr. A.J. Saunke madam to propose the vote of thanks for the session.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks of third session. On the occasion of Faculty Development Program in Life Sciences, I would like to thank to resource person of this session, Vice Principal of our college, Professor Dr. V.Y. Deshpande sir, for enlightening us with their knowledge, skills, and idea. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, madam. Uh, so, with the permission of organizers, it is declared that today's session is over. All the faculty members are requested to join tomorrow for the second day of this FDP. Thank you so much.
कुठे आहे आता? हा यात आहे ना. आहे. आलं का? ओके. चालू आहे मीटिंग. बंद केलेली नाही दिसत गणेशनं.